Welcome to CU Sports Mag. The Buffs hitting the slopes this week, and Nate Solder doing work at Pro Day.
Whitney Lewis talks to the Twins. CU Sports Mag starts now.
Greetings and welcome everybody. Alongside Paul Harris, I'm Andrew Tomasini for this week's edition of CU Sports Mag. And Paul, it's March Madness.
It was a huge week for the Buffaloes. Andy, why don't you get us right into it?
Well, getting back to things, let's see what happened last week when CU faced off versus Nebraska on senior night. And Corey Higgins wasn't the only one celebrating senior night, but here, alongside his parents, getting a standing ovation in front of the home crowd. 18:31 to go in the first half. Great ball movement by CU. Ralford drills the three. CU out the gate up early. 2 minutes later, a Huskers turnover. Marcus returns the favor, finding Levi for three. That's a senior moment there for CU. CU would jump out to a 14-3 lead after that basket, but in the 14-20 mark here, Nebraska trying desperately to get back into it. Hip, hip, Jorge. That's Jorge Diaz. He had 8 on the night, but the Buffs still in front here. Higgins working on Tony McRae. They shot 47% from the field on the evening, but credit the Huskers yet again hanging tough. Richardson to Jeter. Strong move to the hole with the right hand, cutting the deficit to 9. But Alec Burks behind the back to Knutson. He went 3 from 5 from the arc. CU up 5 at the half, picking up the action here, just under 10 to go in the second. Ralford with the steal, up ahead to Burks for the slam, getting the CEC on its feet. But never say die with these Cornhuskers. Alec Burks has a turnover, and there it is. Lance Jeter joining the party, the Pennsylvania native, getting it done on the evening. He had 10 for Nebraska. Again, Nebraska here. Diaz getting his rebound and putting it in. CU only up 5, and following a TV timeout, Corey Higgins slashing through the lane. He puts that one in. Colorado up 9 with 2.5 to play, and the icing on the cake here for CU. The Buffs moving in. Knutson up and under for 2. He had 13 on the evening, and the Buffs would go on to win the Big 12 finale 67-57, and that might be the last time you see Alec Burks in front of the home crowd, but good stuff by CU. Ralford had 19, Knutson had 13, and boy, what a good game.
Absolutely. The men's basketball team are leaving their mark as they play in their last Big 12 tournament. The Buffs, needing some quality wins to enhance their March Madness resume, took on the Iowa State in the first round Wednesday. The Buffs struggled offensively in the first half, as there was a 6-minute span where they couldn't find the basket. Coming to Colorado's rescue was sophomore Alec Burks as he scored 25 second-half points to help secure the win for the Buffs. With the victory, CU recorded only its 5th 20-win season in school history.
The men's basketball team advanced to the Big 12 semifinals after beating Kansas State for the 3rd time this season. Alec Burks carried the team in the first half, scoring 18 of his 24 points, while Corey Higgins did the heavy lifting down the stretch, scoring 19 of his 28 in the second half. Kansas State was led by first-team All-Big 12 point guard Jacob Pullen, who had 18 points and 7 assists. Senior forward Curtis Kelly chipped in with a double-double, 18 points and 10 rebounds, but it was Andre Roberson who continued to make noise in his first taste of postseason action with 14 boards to go with 11 points and 3 rebounds. The Buffs are playing in the conference tournament semifinals for the first time in school history. They will take on Kansas for a chance to play in the championship game on Saturday.
CU's ski team has all but locked up its 18th national championship through 3 days of competition in Stowe, Vermont. In the giant slalom, freshman Sarah Hadjertman took 2nd and Erica Gent took 5th for the women, while senior Gabrielle Rivas posted a 6th place for the men. However, it was Colorado's Nordic skiers who really stole the show. Eliska Hadjikova took 2nd in Wednesday's women's 5K and was 1st in Friday's 15K. Not to be outdone, the men's Nordic team posted a 1:3:10 finish in the 20K race, as Reed Pletcher took home the gold. Hakova and Pletcher's wins are the Buffs' 82nd and 83rd individual skiing titles, an NCAA record, with just Saturday's slalom races remaining. Color and holds 84.5-point lead over Utah.
So next on Sports Mag, we'll check in with the women's basketball squad from Kansas City.
Absolutely. And NFL scouts were on campus checking out the ex-CU Buffs.
Man. Yeah, no. Wait, I can't really. You're breaking up. Lost service. Yeah, no, and then he shoved me, and I was like, that's not cool. And so I just rocked him, and it was tight.
It was a total dime piece, man. Took her back to my place, had a few drinks, you know what I mean.
And after all of that, she told me she had a kid, and I'm not trying to be any part of that right there. You know what I mean? It was a crazy.
Jeremy Bloom, former CU student, football player, Olympian, and world champion. But most importantly, I'm a forever Buff, which means I'm part of 240,000 students and alums created by the CU Boulder Alumni Association. The University of Colorado will always be something I'm very proud to be a part of. The years that I spent going to school and playing football provided me with some of the best memories of my life. So come join me in creating lifelong CU relationships and explore the Forever Buff program.
Don't be mean. Clean your machine.
Welcome back. This week, Simone von Ribbenberg and Shannon Lee talked a little CU hoops.
Take it away, girls.
Thanks, guys. I'm Simone von Ribbenberg alongside Shannon Lee, and today we're going to be talking some men's basketball. Exciting things happening here in Boulder now that the Buffs have made it to the Big 12 tournament. So let's go ahead and take a look at round one. CU versus Iowa State. The Buffs sealed that win 77-75. So they really squeaked it out.
What a dramatic game. It was very enjoyable to watch. Players like Alec Burks and Levi Knutson really stepped up big time to help deliver this epic win. Burks had 38 minutes of playing time. He had 15 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. This kid was literally on fire. This is also a very sweet win because the Buffs suffered a loss to the Cyclones just days ago when the two teams met on March 2nd. But let's move on to round 2 of the tournament. Right now, Simone, the Buffs they're winning. CU took on Kansas State, final score 87-75. Tell me what you think.
Adios, K-State. Tad Boyle voicing his concerns that the Buffs wouldn't be able to match that intensity that Kansas State brings to the table. And doubts also expressed about whether or not we'd be able to beat this team not once, twice, but 3 times in the same season. And the Buffs pulled it off. They ended a 9-game winning streak, and the Wildcats are done.
Again, what a great game. Yeah. You usually don't see, you don't beat a good team like K-State 3 times in a season. The first 2, a little easier to come by, but the third is definitely a harder one to get. So that was great. Andre Robertson, he's such an amazing player, finished the game with 11 points and 14 rebounds and 1 huge block that I really think sealed the victory for the Buffs.
That's right. The Buffs sent the Wildcats packing. And now we're looking forward to the next game against Kansas.
Right, and that brings us to our next question. Simone, I want to know if you think if the Buffs can beat KU. Everybody loves an underdog. CU is certainly seen as that. They're taking on this role in this matchup. They're 0-2 against the Jayhawks this season, a tough loss in game 1 at home, and they were blown out in their second matchup on the road. What do you think about that?
You know, no sugarcoating here. It's going to be a really tough game for the Buffs. And they have to come out ready to fight. Also ready to perform because this is a much bigger game, a lot more media coverage, a lot more fans watching. So really they could have some jitters. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform. But I don't want to discount the Buffs just yet. They've had some big upsets. Anyone remember Texas?
I definitely remember the Texas game. In this game, I think the weak link in the past has been their defense. So that's what I think will help them win the game against Kansas is defense, defense, defense.
Absolutely. They're really going to have to bring their A game when it comes to the defense. Now, against Iowa State, the Buffs practically forgot how to guard. So it's all going to come back down to fundamentals and less sloppy basketball.
Right, and I think it's also going to be really important that both Higgins and Burks have a really great game. This duo accounted for a combined 52 points in the win over K-State, so I think them playing together is going to be really vital to a Kansas upset.
Absolutely. Now, also to kind of build on that, important to remember is that we don't have home court advantage for this game. The Buffs really seem to thrive with that home court energy and everything the fans bring to the table. We've only lost 2 games at home this year. So it'll be really interesting to see how they perform on the road.
Right, and along with not having the home court advantage, I think the Buffs are really going to have to watch their rebounds. This has definitely been a problem in past matchups.
Absolutely. And in exciting news, this is the Buffs' first trip to the Big 12 semifinals. So let's hope they don't get any stage fright.
I hope not. Well, be sure to watch the Buffs as they end their conference tournament and hopefully head to the big dance. I'm Shannon Lee alongside Simone von Rivenberg, and let's toss it back to the desk.
Thanks, girls. 3 CU standout basketball players receive recognition for their performances this season. Sophomore Alec Burks and seniors Corey Higgins and Brittany Spears each receive all Big 12 honors. Burks made the first team after being named Freshman of the Year last season. This season, he averages 20 points and 7 rebounds per game. Higgins earned a spot on the All Big 12 third team for the 3rd straight year. For the CU women's team, Spears also made the All Big 12 first team, averaging 18 points per game.
CU women's basketball team traveled to Kansas City, Missouri to take on the Kansas Jayhawks on Tuesday in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. Colorado was only down by 7 at the half, but the Kansas came out in the second with a 14-0 run. Prevented the Buffs from scoring an 8-minute stretch. CU was unable to mount a comeback and took a tough 71-45 loss. Brittany Spears finished with a game-high 21 points and became CU's all-time leading scorer in the process. The Buffs' NCAA tournament hopes have ended, but they are still looking to play in the postseason with a bid to the women's NIT.
CU women's basketball player Brittany Spears just earned the school record for most career points scored, bringing us to this week's trivia question. Before Brittany Spears, which Colorado women's basketball player held the record for career points scored? We'll have the answer later in the show. And don't forget to vote for the answer on our website, www.cusportsmag.com.
Spring is here, and so is spring football as John Embry puts together his first set of drills as the 24th head coach in school history. Colorado began practice March 11th, and the first opportunity for the fans to see the new-look Buffs and contract drills will be April 2nd. The spring game will take place April 9th at 6 p.m. at Folsom Field. The focus for the team heading into practices will be to work on the fundamental parts of the game as they look to record their first winning season since 2005.
Graduating seniors from the 2010 football squad hit campus this week for CU's Pro Day. Sports Mag's Andy McDonald gives you an inside look into all the action.
The CU Buffs had their Pro Day this past week, showcasing seniors such as Nate Solder, Scotty McKnight, and Jaleel Brown. The seniors participated in different drills ranging from the 40-yard dash to position-specific drills.
You know, I was pretty happy with my combine experience. I just want to get as much exposure as I can because I think that, you know, the more that I meet coaches, the more that I get to know them, the more they're going to, you know, embrace me and things like that.
McKnight's longtime friend and current NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez threw to him during catching drills, providing a comfort level for CU's all-time leader in receptions.
You know, I've been catching for him for so long, and he's not bad at what he does, so having him out there, and like I said, we've been throwing together for so long, it was kind of just second nature. It was great.
While McKnight was CU's all-time leading receiver, he never really got the chance to showcase his speed after the catch.
You know, I kind of wanted to come out there and show people that I did have speed. I've always tested well in quickness, and that's kind of the people have never known that.
Cornerback Jimmy Smith participated in CU's Pro Day to squash any doubts that he was too big to be a corner and wasn't quick enough.
I think I did well for the most part. I think I showcased that I can break on the ball and open up my hips and move my hips.
He also wants to keep looking ahead and enjoying the whole process along the way.
It's crazy because I can remember at the end of the season I was sitting there like, man, I can't wait till the combine. Now I'm sitting there like, I can't wait till the draft. So I mean, it's going by pretty fast, but it's been a fun process.
David LaRose, CU Sportsman.
Thanks, Dave. Coming up, the ski team looks for their 18th national title.
And we'll look to two of CU's biggest fans right after the break.
Trouble again.
Hey, Bobo, where's your video game? In here. Oh, look at this. Uh-oh, it's my dad's. You want to hold it? What'll I do?
If you get my new comic activity book, More Adventures with Scruff, you'll find out what you can do about bullies and guns. And you'll see lots of games.
Cool.
For your free copy of my new comic activity book, just write Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652, and help take a bite out of crime.
I want it, I want it.
You know trouble can start when the clock hits 3. When there's no place after school for kids to be. Nothing to do but hanging on city streets. When mom and dad are working to make ends meet. Now it's time to beat the street.
With after-school programs, city kids aren't left alone and vulnerable. They keep on learning between 3 and 6, but these programs need your support. Join with the Urban League to keep them going. Call now, because it's
time to beat the street.
What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
What'd she say?
She said whatever.
No, she says that all the time.
What's that?
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Mom, I'm on the phone!
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Who's this? It's me. I'm on the phone. Mom.
Oh, you're on the phone. All right. Sorry. Anyway.
Who are you talking to? Kelly?
Mom.
All right.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Hey, welcome back. We have Derek Kessinger with our Sports Guy episode this week. Derek, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm going to talk about CU, the men's basketball team. They're doing so well. They had a huge win over Kansas State yesterday, and it really solidified their chances. They beat Kansas State for the 3rd time. No other team beat them twice, so that was really good. Higgins and Burks were both solid in this game, and it really solidified their chances. Some people said they might be in after the Iowa State game, but after this, people really think that they're going to be in the tournament.
Well, what will the committee look at for them to be in the tournament?
Well, first of all, they've got to look at their wins over ranked opponents. They beat Missouri, Kansas State twice, and Texas, as well as they had a bad road record, which they'll also have to look at. They were 4-10 on the road, but they were 3rd in rebounding in the Big 12 Conference, which was really big, as well as they were 14th in the country in scoring, and they were 3-1 on neutral sites, which is a big deal because the NCAA tournament is obviously played on neutral sites.
Right. So what's the key factor for that Kansas game?
Well, tonight or on Friday night, they're playing Kansas, and Roberson's a huge factor for them. He had 14 rebounds in the Kansas State game. He had 15 rebounds in the Iowa State game, and it really looked for him. Higgins, Knutson, and Burks, 2 out of the 3 of them really need to do well in this game. And also, they need to minimize turnovers. Relfor, he had a lot of turnovers in the last 2 games. Really look for him to change that over the next 2 games. But if they do all that, they could get a win.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Derek. Coming up next, we have Whitney Lewis hitting the pavement for her Man on the Street episode.
Thanks, guys. The best month in college athletics is upon us. March Madness is here. And I'm here at the UMC to see if CU students think the Buffs have punched their ticket to the big dance.
I'm not sure if it's the NBA or the NCAA or both.
The NCAA tournament, basketball.
64 teams competing for the top spot during the month of March.
Basketball tournament with all of the big college basketball teams.
It's where, 64 college basketball teams play
It's just a huge ordeal in the spring. Everyone gets super excited, roots on for their favorite teams, and it's just crazy.
The bubble?
Yeah.
Projected teams to enter the top 24.
The bubble? I have no idea.
The bubble is the Final Four.
I don't know. Some sort of dome that people play basketball in.
They're probably guaranteed after beating K-State.
I think the Buffs are actually a part of something like that, aren't they?
After the last one they won, that they're probably in.
I think so. They don't. Well, they have to beat KU today, right?
I'm gonna go with Duke on that one.
Duke? No.
Duke.
Indiana.
CU, duh.
UCLA? Yeah, nice. Okay.
Dallas.
Not this year. I haven't been really paying attention.
I don't know.
Texas.
Somewhere in Texas. Selection Sunday will reveal the 68 teams that will compete in the NCAA tournament. Hopefully CU has a spot on the dance floor. For CU Sports Mag, I'm Whitney Lewis.
Thank you, Whitney. The women's golf team was in the swamp last weekend for the University of Florida's SunTrust Invitational. CU finished 4th in the field of 17, with Jess Wallace leading the way with a 3rd-place finish, shooting a 6 over par. The Buffs will have a few weeks off until their next tournament, the Mountain View Collegiate in Tucson, Arizona, on March 25th through the 26th.
You see them at every basketball game. Who are they? Sports Mag's Whitney Lewis caught up with 2 of CU's biggest fans.
They're not your average CU fans.
I'm Peggy Copham, and Betty Hoover. Her maiden name is Fitzgerald.
Peggy and Betty have been going to basketball games since the 40s when the team played in the old field house. And as they told us, going to basketball games is not your average activity for an 86-year-old.
Most of our friends, of course, are older like we are, and they're going to church. We say in our old age we're praying and playing.
Perhaps this is why they have a unique perspective on the athletes.
Some of those boys look like ballet dancers sometimes, the way they jump and move. And yet they're built like football players. So.
For all their years spent supporting CU, the Twins have gathered quite the collection of Buff apparel.
Black sweatshirts, gray sweatshirts, gold sweatshirts. A very old logo with the buffalo snorting, you know. We have some gold wool pants, but we haven't worn those this year. We thought they were a little bit.
All right, thank you, Whitney, for that piece. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of technical difficulty there. But have you been thinking over to the answer to this week's trivia question? In case you missed it earlier in the show, here's the question one more time. Before Britney Spears, which Colorado women's basketball player held the school record for career points scored? The answer, Lisa Van Gore, with 2,067 points from 1980 to 1985. Now, Britney Spears holds the record now with 2,075 points.
Wow, interesting stuff there, Paul. Up next, Jacob Eliashar gets you set for the weekend ahead with this week's ski report.
And CU fans give their thoughts on the end of the Nebraska rivalry after the break.
A mi Juan le cuesta mucho hacer la tarea. ¿Cómo puedo ayudar? By coming here, you're already helping. Teachers have a lot to learn from parents.
Dice que ya con venir aquí estás ayudando, que los maestros tienen mucho que aprender de ti.
By the way, he's been a little mischievous lately.
Dice que me porto requete bien.
Juan.
Hables inglés o no, debes participar en la educación de tu hijo. Aprende cómo llamando.
Only you
can prevent forest fire.
And it's true. We know we can count on you to do what Smokey says.
drown your campfires with water. Make sure it's totally wet. Then stir and drown again.
We know we can count on you to do what Smokey says.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Sounds like you could use some Van Gogurt. It's fortified with arts-rich nutrients to improve your math and reading skills. Catch!
Van Gogurt. Thanks. So what's the deal with your ear?
Always with the ear, huh?
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
Listen well, all of you.
A wildfire
No!
can come from anywhere,
Wait.
even the most unexpected places. But 9 out of 10 are caused by humans and can be prevented. Protect our friends in the forest.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Sophomore Joe Morris and junior Emma Coburn will represent CU at the 2011 Indoor Track and Field Championships in Texas. The championships will take place on March 11th and 12th and will be the first indoor championship for both Buffs. Competing in the women's mile in the 60-yard dash is Emma Coburn, currently ranked 6th against the rest of the field. Joe Morris broke CU's record at the Potts Invitational in January after running with a time of 6.63 seconds. He will face 18 other participants separated by only 1 point and 11 seconds.
5 CU student athletes received the Dr. Gerald Leger Award. Skier Ashley Babcock, women's golfer Jamie Beifert, women's runner Emily Hainenberg, men's basketball Levi Knutson, and soccer player Kelly Menenkoff are 5 of the 93 Big 12 athletes who have earned the league's highest academic honor. The athletes received the accolade after lettering in at least one season and passing 100 credit hours while maintaining a 3-point grade point average or better. They will be recognized at the Big 12 basketball championships this week.
Well, you know, the weather's been pretty good of late, and I'm hoping I can bust out the shorts pretty soon.
Well, you know, we have the snow's a little bit kind of dicey right now, but we have Jacob Eilishard to show us what's happening with the ski report.
Cher here, and welcome to this edition of CU Sports Max, the Ski Report. Unfortunately, when I went to Vail, there is no new slot. There's no new snow on the slot. No new snow. Actually, there's no new snow, but however, the weather's going to be gorgeous, and it's going to be amazing. So make sure you bring some lunch with you, and might have a mountain if you guys are not skiing. But however, let's move over to Copper Mountain. Now, Copper Mountain has recorded at least an inch of snow over the entire week. And it's also going to be like Vail, it's going to be amazing. So let's head over to Breckenridge to wrap things up. Now Breckenridge, same with Vail, it has not had any new snow this week. But however, the weather is gorgeous, which brings us to Jacob's words of wisdom. When you're going out skiing this weekend, make sure you wear lots and lots of layers and sunblock, because even though it's going to be sunny, it's going to be amazing. On behalf of myself, have a great day, and I'll send you guys back to the desk.
So Saturday night when CU knocked off Nebraska, really, that's the last time we're going to be seeing Nebraska anytime soon, barring any basically interconference games there. But it's been a pretty good rivalry. Any memories that you can remember?
Well, that 65-point drubbing that we gave them a few years back, that'll stick in my mind forever. But CU Sports Mag takes a look back at the Colorado versus Nebraska rivalry.
Boulder fans love the Buffs, and they also hate the Cornhuskers.
I hate them a lot.
But then again, hate is kind of a strong word.
I wouldn't say I hate Nebraska, but coming here I developed a strong dislike for Nebraska.
Since 1898, CU and Nebraska have played. Thus, a rivalry was born.
When it comes to football, basketball, any sport, this is the game of the year. You have to be at it.
Black and gold and red just aren't compatible.
Despise it. I don't have it in my wardrobe.
And there is no love lost between schools during games.
I don't trash talk or anything. I'm a good sport, but it's really fun when you're playing a big rivalry.
The rivalry flourished on the gridiron in the 90s. CU has Rashawn Salam, Nebraska Eric Crouch, 69 conference titles, 4 national titles between the two universities. Nebraska owns a 43-18-2 advantage in football, but basketball has been split right down the middle the last 10 years. As both teams change conferences, this could be the final matchup between CU and Nebraska ever.
I think that rivalry will always be there, but it's going to be hard to have that with any other team.
No, we're going to find another team, and the rivalry is going to continue.
For CU Sports Mag, I'm Andy McDonald.
Thanks, Andy. So obviously Colorado plays today versus Kansas State. or excuse me, Kansas. I got the wrong Kansas team there. But
all right.
Do you think they're going to make the tournament?
I think we got to get our dancing shoes ready. I think it's almost a lock that since we beat Kansas State the other day, that we're going to be a shoo-in. Some people are saying about a 12th seed, so I don't know.
We'll
but unfortunately, on a more solemn note, for those of us, all of us here at CU Sports Mag, we'd like to give our condolences to those affected by the earthquakes in New Zealand and Japan. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.